By the end of this video, you are probably going to think that this theory explains everything, or you're going to think I'm absolutely insane. The ending to episode 304 of Yellowjackets has added even more mysteries to the show, and today we're going to discuss some theories that may give us some possible answers. I want to discuss the big theory first, as I think this could possibly answer a lot of mysteries that we even still have left over from seasons 1 and 2, like the Red River from season 1, the dripping in season 2, Travis's drawing from this episode with the 3 figures and the 1 person, Lottie's dream, and a lot more. I think there's pretty good evidence that we're building to reveal that there's no wilderness at all. There's nothing supernatural, and really everything that's happening is the Yellowjackets themselves. At the end of season 2, we had the line from Shauna, "There is no it. It was just us." And I think that's kind of a synopsis for the entire show. We also had the line from Nat, "We brought it back with us," and she possibly was referring to their trauma. This would also tie in with Travis's message that Nat was right. They did bring back their trauma and try and bury it and never get any sort of help or address the trauma. If we look back on the past seasons of the show, I think that they've kind of already shown us that this is true, that it is just the Yellowjackets themselves and their trauma. If we look at season 1, we had the big mysteries of Adam and the blackmailer that were 2 big focuses of the season. One of the most discussed things for the entirety of season 1 was who was Adam. The most popular theory was Adam was Javi, and there were some really insane theories, even the theory that Adam was Shauna's wilderness baby, and there were still people talking about that even after Shauna and Adam hooked up. For most of the season, we were all suspicious of Adam. Some things he did and said made him even more suspicious, like when he turned up at the hotel Shauna was at when she was following Jeff. But it meant nothing, and he was just a random guy. Shauna was suspicious just like us, and when she confronted him and saw the Yellowjackets books, and she got even more suspicious, but it was all her own making. And when she found out he was just a random guy, she pulled in the other girls and they cut up Adam and buried him in the ground, just like they want to do with their trauma. Then we come to the blackmailer. Nearly all season we were guessing, was it Adam? Was it someone else? What did they want? What did they know? And again, there was no deep mystery. There was no huge reveal. It was Jeff, one of the Yellowjackets' husbands. And there's lots of other examples. Who the fuck is Lottie Matthews? Who were the people that kidnapped Nat at the end of season 1? What did they all have the symbol around their neck for? Even the longest ongoing mystery of the show, the no-eyed man, huge for the entire show. Everyone has been talking about, who is this? What does he know? What does he mean? And really, it didn't mean anything. He just seems to be a mascot of an ice cream parlor whose commercial played during Saturday morning shows. I honestly think we're going to find out that really everything was them, and all of their lives are so incredibly unhinged because none of them have addressed the massive trauma they experienced. They all tried to do exactly what they did to Adam, put it all in pieces and bury it. I think even things like the waiter will just show things like that happen for no rhyme or reason. It wasn't the wilderness swapping the waiter for Van. I will make a few bold guesses in this video that maybe if you're from the future and watching this, you'll have a laugh at how off base I was. But these women are all stuck in their past because they haven't dealt with their past or their trauma. Shauna keeps her husband and daughter at a distance. Lottie had a cult where everyone was running around with the symbol around their neck. She was doing the ritual thing in early episodes and burying people in the ground with masks on, and she had the antlers on her house, and she had the symbol marked on the ground at her cult. Nat, need I say more? The past haunted her so much, she had to numb herself. Then she became obsessed with Travis's death being a murder, but it really involved him and Lottie. Christ, let's not get into Misty kidnapping people in her basement and holding them there because she was so paranoid someone was after them. And really, no one was. One of their own had hired Jessica Roberts. So that leads me to the death of Lottie, and it makes me believe that it's one of the Yellowjackets. I think that from next episode on, we're going to be presented with a whodunit. It's no coincidence that Ty, Shauna, and Van were all in New York when Lottie died. All of the Yellowjackets were unaccounted for from both the audience and each other, seemingly, when Lottie is killed. Neither us, the viewers, nor the other Yellowjackets knew what the others were doing. Ty and Van split from the guy's house that they were following and met each other an hour later. Shauna left Misty's work and went to get the cat, and Misty left work and went home. We can probably rule out Misty because we saw her react to finding out about Lottie, and the only kind of hint anything happening with the others was Van's hand shaking when she handed over the money to the pretzel guy. It could be something to do with her illness or medication, and there could be something more going on. I said in my episode 301 302 video, I thought Van and Ty were hiding something from one another, and they were, and now have come clean. Are they hiding more stuff though? I also mentioned in that video that when Ty and Van, teen Ty and Van, are talking about Nat being the leader, that it definitely seems like they're hiding stuff from each other too, and I do think that Ty burned down the cabin, although I don't completely rule out Van. I think in episode 303 and 304, there was even more stuff going on that made me think one of them did it, probably Ty. Van was very quick to convict Coach, and there are a few other looks she gives during the group scenes that I just thought it seemed like something else was going on, and she really couldn't raise her hand fast enough to convict him. As I said, I do think that it could be Van, but I don't really see a motivation for her. The only thing I could think of is maybe Van and other Ty have some sort of separate relationship, but that is a little bit crazy maybe. When it comes to Ty, I think we're seeing a lot more of other Ty than we think. There are also some very quick clips of her in the upcoming trailers that make it look like she's stabbing something, and then in a separate clip where she's in the same clothes, she's opening the trunk of her car. There's another clip in a trailer, well, like it's kind of two short clips, and you can tell it's the same scene because of the background and what she's wearing. And in one of the clips, she's answering what looks like a popular phone from the 90s where it's like a clear cover and all the inside is exposed. In the other clip without the phone, it is actually adult Ty with teen Ty layered over the top with just the opacity turned down. So you're seeing both teen and adult Ty at the same time. If you turn the exposure up on these scenes, it really looks like she's in a cave. It could be a dream, it could be a flashback, it could be other Ty making altars, and I swear to God, if Steve is at this altar, I will riot. Justice for Steve. But I think the other Ty being a manifestation of her suppressing her trauma is the non-supernatural explanation, because we know Ty likes to be in control. Ty has always had a lot of aspirations. She worked hard. She had an amazing life that she's torn to pieces. I mean, when we meet Ty, she's got it all. She's got a beautiful wife and son and family, home. She had a great job, was very wealthy, and was running for state senate. She hasn't now seen her wife and kid in a long time. She impeached herself, and she's having an affair with her high school girlfriend, which she moved in with after a vacation to Lottie's cult on their second date. Classic lesbians. In this last episode, Ty and Van are very much screaming unemployed, and this whole it chose someone when the man picked up the card from the ground. that really is when I thought, okay, I think this is a little bit more confirmation on the theory that I'm talking about, and I'm going to put it in this video because this is something I've been thinking about since last season. If you go back to my season 2 videos, I talk a bit about this and the Alice in Wonderland stuff, and also just this sort of there is no anything. It's really just them. They are desperately searching for an explanation for what happened to them. They are searching for a meaning. Have they made their own prison hell cage by not addressing what happened to them? The same way Shauna thought she was trapped in the freezer, but according to the sign, she wasn't. Is that what this show is that what it's showing us? I do also have a ridiculous theory that other Ty is set off by Ty having some sort of reaction to copper, because we see her eating meat and it seems that's when other Ty happens to appear. She in season 1 accidentally eats meat at the thing where she goes to like the fundraiser and they have the pig roast. She does spit it out, but we know she's been eating dirt, which she was also doing in the wilderness. When they're at that fancy restaurant with the little cotton candy thing, the waiter says it's foie gras, which is duck liver. But I think that's me just thinking way too much about this stuff. However, I do think the copper could address a lot of stuff that we're seeing in the wilderness. Maybe it's not making Ty do anything, but it could explain the river, the Red River in season 1. It could explain a lot of the sick animals, the deer, the bear, what happened with the birds. Copper also produces a blue-green flame, which is the color that Van's lantern sparked when they went into the cave. There is actually a thing called Kaiser Flexner's rings, which is a ring that you get around the iris of your eye, and it basically shows that your body isn't metabolizing copper properly. It's when you've had way too much. I know this sounds kind of off the rails, but there is actually drawings that Ty's son, Sammy, did. And I will talk about some more of these drawings in a sec because we're seeing the same drawing now in season 3. But in one of the drawings that Sammy has on his window, there's tons of eyes and there's loads of eye stuff in this show. And if you look and zoom in on the eyes that he's drawn, they're all different colors, but all of them have a darker ring around the iris. So all the blue eyes, it's like lighter blue and then dark blue circles. All the eyes are drawn like that. I mean, that seems like a choice to do that. So again, this might be off the rails. This might be me obsessing too much about this show. One of the drawings that Sammy does is not identical, but it looks very similar to the one that Travis did in episode 304. The picture that Sammy's drawn is 3 people standing over someone lying down in what looks like a hospital bed, and then Travis's drawing is more simplified. It's just 3 kind of shadow people and then someone lying down in front of them. There's also a clip in one of the trailers of Ty and Misty in a hospital where someone's in a bed and it looks like Ty is about to smother this person. Is Van there too? Is it the 3 of them? They could have taken the 3rd person out of the promo trailer because it might be too obvious. Or is it, as Travis says, is this the outcome at the end of the season? Will we see another Yellowjacket perish and be left with 3? I'd honestly be shocked if they killed off Shauna or Misty, and that sadly means our days are probably numbered for Yellowjackets being the only show to ever exist that has a good lesbian survival rate. I'm gonna be pissed if Ty or Van is taken out, especially because I just saw this great interview with Tawny Cypress talking about how grateful she is for the show, and she told this great story about asking to be cast on a great show when she was going through a period where work wasn't very consistent. I'll try and find the interview because I saw like a clip of it and I'll post it below if I can find it. I wouldn't be surprised if it was revealed that either other Ty has been doing crazy shit and we've seen her more than we think, Or secretly Van has been doing more than we think, and maybe even being the string puller of other tie. Also, when it comes to the poisoning in the cave, there are a few other explanations except for copper. They focus on the bats a lot, and I'm sure most people know that you can get poisoning from bat excrement. And there's also hydrogen sulfide, which is a poisonous gas found in lots of caves. And hydrogen sulfide also produces a blue flame. I wish I could tell my 20-year-old self when I was working like a demon to get through organic chemistry in college while working full-time that the only bit of chemistry I would ever be using was to explain the color of flames certain gases make in a TV show, which I think I learned maybe like the third week of boarding school when I was 11. So maybe organic chemistry was overkill for this career. And just one other thing about Sammy's drawings, there is also one that it seems like a split screen with both ties. And there is a lot of split screen imagery in this show. And I'm going to talk a bit more about split screens timelines in this next part. I think there's a lot of signs that this season might end with them getting rescued. We see a few shots of winter in a couple of trailers. In my next video, I will share who I think everyone under the masks are at the Antler Queen pilot scenes. And I think we're really closing the gap and leading to their rescue. The only thing nagging me a bit is this yellow filter on the wilderness scenes. I wouldn't be surprised if that filter is filtering their reality. There was a line from Misty in season 2 when she and Shauna are looking for the goat at Lottie's compound, and Misty says, "I've been hoarding food in case they try to get us to have group hallucinations induced through starvation." I'm paraphrasing that, but it's a very specific example for one person who was starved in the wilderness to say to another person who was starved in the wilderness. Hi guys, Editing Ash here. I just wanted to add something that I forgot to mention. In season 2, episode 6, the episode where Shauna has the baby, when it's born, and I mean the baby that's shown to be alive, anytime that baby is on screen and Shauna is having what we then know to be a hallucination, that the baby is born healthy, there is a filter being used on those scenes. And then we also obviously know, I know I've used some clips of this scene throughout the video, is Coach Ben, whenever he was having these hallucinations with Paul, it would have that, not a filter over the whole scene, but it had like a static VHS filter, which was also shown when Lottie's therapist was revealed to be a hallucination. And of course, those things could all be creative choices. They could just be putting this filter on to add to the, it's spring, it's not winter, you know, it's a better time. And those VHS staticky things could just be, this is a 90s show with 2 timelines. And obviously there's a lot of talk about VHS in movies, but it just seems so deliberate. Like, why wouldn't you use that VHS filter more if it was really like 90s that you wanted to just have it on there? I know I put filters on things just sometimes because I think it looks cool, but it does just seem very deliberate. So I just wanted to mention that as well. But back to past me. So is there some sort of group hallucination going on? Is that tying in with the screams? If you call that number for the man with no eyes ice cream place Aussies, there's actually a Morse code message that says the screams are not what they seem. Additionally, there are 2 voice messages being played kind of at the same time, one cutting in with the other. We also got the conversation from Mari and Coach Scott about 2 realities. And as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of mirroring parallels. And that's something I was talking about in my season 2 videos. Have these characters gone through the looking glass? As I mentioned, we get a lot of Alice in Wonderland imagery. There's also these mirroring shots in a lot of the opening credits And we started season 3 with that weird split screen thing with the Mari scene. Ozzy's ice cream message also says, "Time's weird, the way a moment can feel so permanent even when it's melting away, like it never existed at all we went through to get here." So is there going to be another timeline, another reality where they never crashed, or where they actually went to therapy and addressed their trauma? There's also the dripping from season 2 and now the beeping in season 3. The dripping was every so often in season 2. We know Mari heard it and eventually Ty. And this season we're getting this beeping. The most I heard it and recognized it was in the scene where Ty and Van go into the ice cream parlor and they see the coyote. It's very faint, but it's there. And it's also in the ice cream store message whenever you call that number. There's also other things that we've been shown that the characters at the time think is real, and then the viewers are shown them as if they're real, later to be revealed they're not. Akila's mouse, and then when Sammy came to Ty's house and we thought he was there, she thought he was there, but he wasn't. I think they're going to go back into the cave, and I think Akila's probably going to be pressured into going into the gas area again, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is how she perishes, and it will be tied in with her vision that she had when she ate the berries, as it seems when you consume something, you're a goner. We had Jackie take the hot chocolate, but Lottie didn't eat whenever she had that scene in the mall. I definitely need to think more about this mirror parallel world theory. I think there's definitely something with the beeps and the dripping. Other Ty being up to crazy shit would explain some things, and it also would explain a reaction like the one she's having in the trailer, as it seems similar to when she was told she ate Jackie. I know a lot of people are frustrated with Lottie's death, and I do agree it seems a bit like a waste and like we're not getting any answers, especially between what happened with the wilderness rescue to cult leader and so much more. And I also think a lot of what happened in season 2, what was kind of the point? But I hope the showrunners know what they're doing. I have faith in them, as there are still a lot of things from past seasons that have tied into things later down the road. But then again, I have been burned by showrunners and having faith in them before. Regardless, I'm excited to hear everyone's theories and what you think about these theories. Let me know down below. And as always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.